So, the college football season is about to start too, and my intention is to do videos on um, the biggest games for each week of the season. And to recap last season, the public was on Ohio State, and Ohio State did win the national championship. They had the most expensive roster than any team out there in college football. And is it really going to be that predictable? Is the most expensive roster really going to win every single year? Or basically, every year you must be in the top 10 most expensive rosters to win a national championship. So that's something that still needs to be shown, needs to be proven. Um, but, anyways, if the public won on Ohio State last year, then basically is one of the top games could be a betting trap. Are they really going to let the public win every game? I mean, people are high on Arch Manning in Texas, and I think they're going to be a very popular team every single week. And Arch Manning is not really polarizing like Colorado and Shador Sanders, where many people like to bet against Colorado because they hate the whole hotline bling. We got the swag, whatever. We got the attitude, whatever. It's basically swag is what it is. But I think in general, people like Arch Manning more than they like Shador Sanders and his dad, Deion Sanders, and nepotism tends to be anti-American, and people. Well, I mean, nepotism is a part of America. I mean, we're told that hard work, you can do anything, but sometimes it's not really true. Sometimes you need the familial line connections to get ahead in America, especially in corporate America, especially in politics. But I just get the feeling that this is the chapter. This is not the complete story. So the story doesn't end beyond this year because the Manning family already said he's not going to be one and done. He's going to have the full college experience. Now, I thought Peyton Manning won a championship with Tennessee, but then I went back and checked. He couldn't beat Florida. He couldn't beat Steve Spurrier in Florida. He failed to win a national championship. The most ironic thing that happened was the very next season after Peyton Manning left, got drafted. The very next season was when Tennessee won the national championship, the very first year after Peyton Manning left. And now, and I'm not saying this means that Arch Manning's not going to win a national championship. I do believe he'll be the first Manning that I'm aware of to win a national championship. I didn't look up uh, the Arch Manning, and I think he played college football at Ole Miss, right? The godfather of the Mannings, the guy who played with the New Orleans Saints. Uh, he may have won a Heisman, but I'm not sure if he won a national championship. I think he played college football at Ole Miss. I'm talking about their father, Peyton and Eli's father. That's what I'm talking about. But Bill Belichick, obviously, his first game in college football, that's another storyline. And then the other big game that I'm aware of is, well, Baylor and Auburn's a big matchup. I don't consider it, the one of the top games out there. I think the other game is obviously Clemson and Brian Kelly and LSU. And in that game, LSU, I've seen, are the underdog. And I think this is a year where Brian Kelly has a lot to prove. And this is a very big third year for Brian Kelly. And Clemson haven't really been the same juggernaut that they were when they played Alabama in the national championship for 3 straight years. So ultimately, you got to earn the big bucks, Brian Kelly. The boosters are going to be on your ass. So I reckon that Brian Kelly is going to beat Clemson. They self-destructed in against a very average USC team last year. They should have won that game against USC. So this is a high volumes game for Brian Kelly, and he doesn't win big games, but it's a 10-year contract. It's a very expensive payoff. He's got to get that win. So I think he has to win. But I think most of the betting public, I think, will probably be on Texas over Ohio State. I mean, I'll be rooting for Texas, but Ohio State's still Ohio State, and um, they got beat on their home turf at the Cotton Bowl or the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. So Ohio State still better. Is this in a game like this? You can still lose against Ohio State, still win the SEC, and still be in the college football playoff. These non-conference games don't mean as much because you can still win your conference. You can still qualify for the tournament for the college football playoff. So even if Texas loses against Ohio State by winning the SEC, by winning double-digit games, they could still make it to the college football playoff. And I think that Arch Manning, imagine a scenario where he does lose the first game. Then, oh my God, all the pressure. They watching this team every week. You can't beat this team. Wait till they play a real team. So Texas losing to begin the season could make it pretty interesting, I think. Could make it pretty interesting. So I think the public are going to be on him, the Texas, because it's a Manning and it's Texas and they're supposed to be good. So I think Ohio State may win that game, even though I'm rooting for Texas. He hits a home run, 2-run shot, boom. Who's number 56? Mariners, White Sox. Oh, the guy on the Tampa Bay Rays, Randy Rosarina. He's good. The Mariners are going to win the AL West. Rosarina, Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, Canzoni, he's doing pretty good. Woo's great. Gilbert's he's got filthy stuff. Seattle's going to win that division. They're going to win the AL West. Alex Rodriguez and Julio Rodriguez. Funny how that works. Paul Skenes is on the mound for Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh today. I don't care about the other game. I'm tuning into my favorite teams, the Arizona Cardinals. I live here in Arizona, so I get the local channels to watch all the Cardinal preseason games. But the Raiders are on NFL Network. The Raiders are my second team, so hopefully Geno comes into Seattle. He beats his former team. He shows them what they are missing. And, completely dry, obviously, because August is a completely dry month until September. So no alcohol. It's tempting. But everybody needs a little recycled. I think for me, it happens 2 times a year during the dead periods, August, and I think February is the dead period after the Super Bowl, before the spring training, the March Madness. So 2 times a year where I intend on. Dry January just can't happen because the NFL playoffs, I mean, it's high stakes stuff right there. The action, who's going to win, all this good stuff, the narratives, the hype, everything associated with the playoffs, all the emotions, and the liquor that can amplify the emotion, the celebration, the disappointment, the devastation. So, no wine glass here until football season, mate. So, struck him out. Okay. But yeah, when the Raiders are playing tonight, there's no wine, there's no liquor, there's nothing because I'm doing over 30 days without a drink. I think until when the football season. I think September 4th is the Eagles Cowboys game. And so I'm looking forward to that. Belichick and TCU, I think the public wins on that game. I think everyone's going to, I can't say everyone is going to bet on North Carolina. Is this guy distracted? Is he focused on his uh, young gold digging? I know he's a dirty old man, but I sell my soul. I sleep with a disgusted old 70-year-old man, and I get my payday. So that's what that's about right there with Bill Belichick's girl, is that she's playing the long game. She wants to inherit whatever Bill Belichick is gonna leave for his heirs, whoever that may be, his kids and his suitor that he's with right now. But I I can't see a scenario where Belichick doesn't start out with a win against TCU, and TCU is a pretty good program, and you know they had Mac Brown from Texas. He won a national championship, but then he didn't exactly make North Carolina a contender. So I don't think there'll be national title contenders. I mean, it's a different ball game recruiting, but maybe the money, the exposure to NFL coaching allows North Carolina to be a good program or whatever. You need that NFL exposure. Nobody can prepare you better for the NFL than Bill Belichick. So I do think North Carolina does have a recruiting advantage with what Bill Belichick can offer for guys looking to go to the NFL. And I think people will be talking about paying attention to North Carolina. If they beat TCU, then everyone gonna bet on North Carolina every week, thinking that Bill Belichick is in the ACC is weak. So they'll be like, the ACC is weak. Bill Belichick can win the ACC. Well, did Deion Sanders win the Pac-12 or the Big 12? And I think the Big 12 is kind of weak, and he couldn't win the Big 12. I mean, yeah, their offensive linemen, their defenders were terrible, blah, blah, blah. This guy, Travis Hunter had to play both offense and defense because they had no depth. But, even if Clemson loses, they can still win their conference. They did last year, so he still has to deal with Clemson. I don't know how good Miami are going to be, but in conclusion, I think Belichick winning is going to be a great storyline for the college football scriptwriters because these guys are paid. These guys make more money. The more entertainment, the more storylines college football can generate. It just means these guys get bigger salaries at the end of the day. Because these players get rid, they have a stake in the bag. They're going to rid these games. Because they now have a stake in the game. College football is bound to be rigged. And let me get my pizza. I got to go, y'all. Bye-bye. I'll be here for the game tonight. Raiders preseason.